So, with 2023 almost done and 2024 just being a few weeks away, I figured let's take a look at what is coming out in 2024 in regards to Star Wars. This is going to be pretty much about everything that I'm looking forward to, which is every single piece of media, probably. Because, a lot is planned for Star Wars in 2024, and I think that I am looking forward to almost all of it. One thing that is bugging me a little bit is that as of the recording of this video, we don't have release dates or trailers or any kind of announcement of what is going to come out next, especially in the regards to TV shows. Like, when will we get a Skeleton Crew, an Andor season 2? Will we get an Andor season 2, or is that going to be pushed? Those kind of questions. I'm like, can we, now that the strike is over, get these announcements out? Because for the past couple of weeks since the strike is done, I was just thinking, well, okay, we're seeing trailers from other TV shows and movies come out and announcements in terms of like what is going to happen with a whole lot of franchises. And Star Wars has been pretty quiet so far. So I would really love to see anything that we're going to get in the new year. Because in 2024, we also will not have a Star Wars celebration. They announced that at Star Wars Celebration this year that the next one will be in 2025 in Japan. So we have to wait 1 year more for the big event, which, besides the fact that, of course, it's a big celebration event for Star Wars, it is always used as a big promotional tool where they announce stuff, where they show stuff, like trailers and things. Like this year alone, they announced a whole lot of things, and a lot of those announcements were big and like, oh my god, we're gonna get so much Star Wars, and we're gonna get movies again. We're not gonna get that right now. So I'm very curious how they're going to handle that in the new year in terms of like, what are you going to do? Are you going to have some kind of an event, or is it just going to come out whenever? So one project that I thought was actually supposed to release like this month is Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew apparently is a TV show set in the time of the Mandoverse, so Ahsoka and the Mandalorian, that kind of stuff, 5 years after Return of the Jedi. And I don't really know what it's about. All I really know is that the main star will be Jude Law, which I think is a good actor. So I am looking forward to seeing him in a live action Star Wars project. But I'm very curious as to find out what is happening in that show. Because, yeah, no trailer. Of course, the people who were at Star Wars Celebration at the Lucasfilm panel at the very beginning of the weekend, they got to see something. I wasn't there, so I didn't get to see anything. I didn't really hear much, so I have no idea what to expect. But actually, I kind of appreciate that. Sometimes I really like just going into something blind and be like, okay, take me, show me what you got. And I would very much like them to show me what they got because I want to see a trailer. So I would love for a trailer to release because I feel this show is done. As I said, it was supposed to release like this month or so it should be done by now. And I know they pushed it because of the strike. Strike is done. The show is done. Give us something, please. Give us a release date. Give us a trailer. Maybe by the time that this video releases, there will be something. Maybe there won't be. But yeah, I feel that before the end of this year, we just need some kind of an announcement, some kind of a trailer for something that is going to come out because I just feel like we deserve that. All our fans. We've been patient, of course. Now reward us for our patience, please. Like, because I am getting impatient. One thing that is announced for the new year is the High Republic Phase 3. For the people who don't know what the High Republic is, there are a series of books and comics right now that are set hundreds of years before the current timeline that we're used to with the movies and everything. They wanted to show that time in Star Wars, and it took me a while to actually get to it because really find the time or the means even to get to read all those books. But since this year, I figured out that I'm actually able to listen to audiobooks at work. So while I'm working for like 8 hours, I can listen to audiobooks, and that actually has helped me catch up with a whole lot of audiobooks. First, I revisited a couple of old ones, like I wanted to revisit the Thrawn books and everything. But now I'm actually getting into the High Republic. I've read well, I haven't read, but I've listened to the first two books, Light of the Jedi and Into the Dark. And now I'm actually on the third book. Like I started it, and I am going to try to catch up with these books because, yeah, the High Republic Phase 3 is going to release in the summer. So before then, I think I have plenty of time to catch up, at least on the novels, and get a good idea of what the High Republic is, so that I can enjoy the new phase. Because I do think there's a lot of potential, and of course, the High Republic is going to have the first show as well in the new year. But yeah, the show that we're going to get that is set in the High Republic is The Acolyte. And The Acolyte is, like Skeleton Crew, something I don't know much about. We haven't seen the trailer. There was, again, something shown at the Star Wars Celebration panel that I couldn't get into. And I don't know much about what's going on there. And again, like, I would think that we would get a trailer at some point about this. So I'm hoping for a trailer at some point just to see like what it's about. But it is an exciting prospect that for the first time in terms of on-screen, like TV/movies, we're going to go away from the timeline that we've been so used to for years now. Like, yeah, the timeline between The Phantom Menace and Rise of Skywalker is all that we see in terms of movies and TV. And this is going to be hundreds of years in the past, so very different era. We're probably going to see some fan favorite characters from the High Republic, which is going to be cool. And yeah, just to see something else that's exciting in and of itself, I feel. And even though I do still want a trailer to really get a bit of an idea of like what to expect, I am, of course, going to watch it. I watch everything. Regardless of if it's good or bad, I'm definitely going to watch it, of course. By the way, there might be some nitpickers out there who are like, well, but Tales of the Jedi has a couple of episodes that is set before The Phantom Menace. You should know what I mean. I meant essentially that from The Phantom Menace to The Rise of Skywalker and like the few episodes of the Tales of the Jedi, they're all the same characters, really. Like the characters, the timeline that we know. This is going to be generations past. So there will be, of course, a couple of characters that we do know, like a Yoda, like a Yarael Poof, actually. But other than that, it's going to be very new. And speaking of Tales of the Jedi, we're going to get a season 2 for this one. And I am very curious as to what to expect for this one, because Tales of the Jedi season 1 I thought was pretty good. It's very short. It's only 6 episodes, and they're very short episodes. So combined all together, it doesn't even accumulate to the length of a full movie. Like, it would be a kind of a short movie if you put everything together. But it is a good show, I think. And I think there is a lot they can do with it. What we've seen in season 1 was very much focused on just Ahsoka and Dooku. Sure, we had an episode with Yaddle, and there were a couple of episodes where we also included some other Jedi in it, but they were mostly focused on the characters of Ahsoka and Dooku. And I'm like, okay, cool. 2 characters from the prequel era that have had plenty of screen time, I feel. And while, getting a bit of backstory for both of them was interesting to see, I'm like, let's go further. Let's go more into the timeline and show more tales of Jedi, because I feel there are countless Jedi all over Star Wars with interesting little stories to tell, and I'm curious to see what they could do with that. So I'm very curious, of course, and I really hope it's good. But I know it's going to be good because Tales of Jedi Season 1 was good. So Season 2 should be good as well, right? Before I continue to talk about upcoming projects and whatnot, I should probably talk a little bit about Filoni becoming the new CCO over at Lucasfilm, which is, of course, short for Chief Creative Officer. And I think this is something that a lot of people have been salivating over. They've been wanting for years, because years ago, Rebels was coming out. People were really loving Rebels back then. And the group of people that really hated on the sequels, they were like, oh, let's not put Kathleen Kennedy in charge. She's not a good fit. We need to put Dave Filoni in charge. And to those people, I think you really have a wrong impression of how a business is run. Kathleen Kennedy is CEO. She doesn't do the creative part. She does overall things. Like, in terms of making up a story and everything, what Filoni does and what he's going to be more in charge of right now, that is not really what she does. She just pushes out the movies and promotes it all, So, yeah, when I hear those kind of comments, I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about. To be fair, I also am not entirely sure on the entire hierarchy and everything, but it does seem like a step in the right direction for Lucasfilm, because they clearly show, okay, you all wanted Dave Filoni to be in charge of this. We're going to give that to you. And I'm looking forward to that. However, I do have a couple of reservations, and I have seen people have their reservations as well, and I agree with them. As in, like, Filoni has, of course, one view of Star Wars. He has a very good view of Star Wars, and he's been around Star Wars for so long. So I do think he is definitely the right person to make Star Wars. But if he needs to interfere with people who are making a somewhat different show, like, for example, Andor, which is very different from his Star Wars, he just needs to leave that alone. And I have the feeling that he's going to insert some things in a show like Andor, which could kind of ruin it, because I feel, let people, like in this case, Tony Gilroy, in terms of Andor, let him do what he does, because Andor season 1 is great. And I think he's going to deliver again with Andor season 2. And I just don't want any interference from anyone else who has a different view of Star Wars, even though his view is good. It's just different. Because I feel like, Star Wars has a whole lot of different kinds of things, different shows, different movies for everyone. There are people who enjoy the prequels, the original trilogy, the sequels, certain shows, and other people don't. And that's completely fine, but at least it has something for everyone. Therefore, I would like that to continue going forward, that we are going to have different kinds of shows for different kinds of people. So that, like, for example, I don't watch the Young Jedi Adventures or Forces of Destiny, because that's clearly not for me. But it's for little kids who, they see that for the first time, and that's like their introduction into Star Wars. And that's good. That's important. So while I don't really watch them because I know I'm not the target audience, others will watch it. And therefore, I think, let the creators of these shows do their thing. Like, sure, Filoni is going to oversee it, but don't interfere too much. That is my only fear with it, really. Speaking of Andor, season 2 is going to come out. At least I hope it's going to come out, because I've heard people say that they were still shooting this year and they might not get it done in time and it might be pushed. If it's pushed, I'm okay with that, because we are already getting a whole lot of stuff in 2024. If it's not getting pushed, then awesome. I'd love to see it as soon as I possibly can, because Andor is, well, my favorite of the live action shows. And therefore, Andor season 2 is definitely my most hyped project coming out in terms of Star Wars next year. I think it's going to be great. I think Tony Gilroy has done a great job with season 1. And hearing him talk at the celebration panel earlier this year, and also seeing a little teaser there, that just made me so happy, because I'm like, this looks great. The people who are making this clearly know what they're doing. And while it might not be the most conventional Star Wars, it definitely is still Star Wars. And I really love it. So I think that is definitely my most anticipated project for 2024. And yeah, if they need to push it, that's okay with me, because they've done that in the past as well. For example, Jedi Survivor was pushed a little bit, and it's like, okay, if you need more time to really work on a project to make it better, then by all means go ahead, because Jedi Survivor had that push a little bit further into the year. And when it came out, I thought it was a great game. Sure, initially there were a couple of glitches. It wasn't perfect, but after the glitches worked itself out and had a couple of updates, it was perfect. And I really loved the story. And that story was done. That is something you can't really update. And speaking of games, of course, there is a new game planned this year. We already have a trailer for it, Star Wars Outlaws. Now, based on the trailer, I'm going to say that I'm interested, but I don't really know yet what to expect, really. They say it's an open world game, so it's going to be huge. I hope my computer can take that, because I have a game computer, and it ran Survivor, so I hope this game can run as well. We'll see about that. But yeah, like, in terms of story and characters, I'm like, okay, I don't know much yet about them, and I'm curious to learn that. But again, like, with Jedi Fallen Order, I had no idea what that story would be like, what the characters would be like, and it turned out that Fallen Order was great and Survivor even better, at least in my opinion. So in that regard, I feel, okay, if you give me a new story about new characters, cool, I'm on board. Let's just see if it's any good. And another, like, reservation that I have for myself is the fact that the new Star Wars games under the new Disney umbrella, they have been hit or miss for me. Like, for example, 2015's Battlefront, miss. There's no campaign. There were countless DLCs that you had to pay a lot of money for. Bullshit. Absolutely not. 2017's Battlefront 2 initially seemed like a bit of a miss. But they fixed it a lot, and luckily, like all the fixing, all the DLCs were completely free this time around because they definitely heard the complaints for 2015's Battlefront. So for Battlefront 2, they improved, and eventually, like what they did, also like add more campaign. Okay, so it turned out to be a hit in the end, but it was still a little rough. Then, of course, I already said Fallen Order, smash hit. I think everyone loved that game, and Survivor as well. So those are definitely two big hits. Squadrons is a game that came out. Does anyone remember Squadrons? I kind of almost forgot about it, but yeah, I think that's a miss. I didn't much care for it, and I don't hear anyone talk about it anymore. And then you have Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, and while I think that overall the game was good, it definitely was lacking something. Like in comparison to the older Lego Star Wars games, I definitely felt it was not as good. So I feel like a bit of two minds, like both hit and miss, because at least we had another Lego Star Wars game, and I do feel it was overall a good game, but it could have been better, and it was a little bit of a miss. So I'm like kind of splitting that one. So yeah, with Outlaws, I feel like I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna go into it with an open mind, and I hope I like it, but I'm going to have some reservations because, as I said, hit or miss. We'll see. And I think that, the same sentiment can be said about The Bad Batch Season 3. Because if you've been following my reviews on my channel for The Bad Batch that I've published so far, I have not been a big fan of how The Bad Batch started out. And I know I keep promising that eventually there will be episodes that I think are better, and I think Season 2 is better. And therefore, I do think Season 3 can be very good. I know the team behind it. I know that they have talent and they can do this type of stuff. So I am definitely looking forward to it. However, because of that rough start and a couple of not so good episodes also throughout Season 2, I'm still skeptical about The Bad Batch. I'm looking forward to it, but we'll have to wait and see. So in terms of TV shows and games and books, I think I'm covered right now. One thing that I haven't really talked about is comics, but that's more so because I am way behind on my Star Wars comics. I still have a whole bunch of comics in my bookcase that I haven't gotten to yet. And I just can't find the time for it because there are so many other things that I also want to read. I do hope that I can get to read a little bit more. Besides, of course, the Audible thing, like actually sit down and read some stuff in the new year, because there are definitely a couple of things I want to read, like physically read, like the comics. So, we'll get there. As of right now, I'm just not really caught up on comics. And of course, there are not going to be any movies in 2024. There are 2 of them planned in 2025, and I think that's a lot, considering that, Star Wars used to be one movie every 3 years and then a long waiting period until the next trilogy. And then in 2015, they started with movies every single year up until 2019. And now they want to release 2 in the same year at a point when Star Wars is not the most healthy, I feel, in terms of the public opinion. Look, I love it. I will definitely go and see it like a lot of other Star Wars fans. But definitely, like in the public view, I do feel that not everyone loves Star Wars as much as they used to. Um, so that's why I'm not entirely sure if 2 movies will work out. We'll have to wait and see about that. I also don't really know like which movie is going to come out, because we know that the movies that they have planned is one movie about the Mandoverse, where all of the shows come together in a movie, and Thrawn is going to be the big baddie and whatnot. And I look forward to that. I don't know if that's going to be the first one in 2025, the second one, or even the one in 2026. I think that also kind of depends on like when the shows will eventually line up to the point that you can release that movie. So yeah, that's one movie. You have the James Mangold Jedi Origins movie. No idea which one it is. And then we have the Rey movie. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But I am definitely looking forward to all those movies for different reasons. I do think there is a lot of potential there, and I cannot wait to see anything out of it. I do think in 2024, we at least will get one trailer for one of the movies. And that trailer is going to just be so important. So important in terms of like Star Wars coming back to movies. But it's going to get me hyped. I know that for sure. And there's one last thing that I want to talk about, definitely not the least, because for me, of course, you can see it right behind me, I have a lot of Lego sets. And I am always looking forward to, like, what Lego sets are going to come next. And 2024, I think, could bring us a lot of great Lego sets. One that I am extremely anticipating is a UCS Ghost, because, of course, a couple of months ago, we had the release of a normal version of the Ghost, but I didn't buy that on purpose because I think that we're going to get a UCS version, and hopefully the UCS version can actually fix Jason Sindula's hair and make it green. Yeah. Even though, I heard a lot of great things about the Ghost a couple of months ago, the fact that Jason Sindula did not have green hair still pisses me off, and I'm like, okay, I'm not buying you. And another reason that I didn't buy that set and I'm waiting for a UCS version, because, I bought this AT-AT in 2021. I also bought the Razor Crest in 2021, the smaller versions. Then at the end of 2021, they announced, oh, we're going to have a huge AT-AT, a UCS version. And then like a year later, they announced the UCS Razor Crest. And I'm just like, I just spend money on this and you're going to just release UCS versions, which I would really want. But okay, first of all, they are huge and I don't really have space for them. But I'm just like, I kind of felt like I wanted one of them, either the Razor Crest or the AT-AT, but couldn't really get that because I already had them, and my girlfriend's going to get mad if I get too many sets. So there's that, Anyway, I think that's pretty much all I can say about Star Wars in 2024. I'm looking forward to a whole lot of things, and I'm definitely going to be covering every single bit of it over here on this channel. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, to follow me for all of this. Because also there's something coming up for me where I'm going to build some Legos with some friends. And I'm not entirely sure when yet, but I am going to build a couple of cool sets. So look forward to that because, I always love putting Legos together on a live stream with some people, and we can talk. So that's cool. Look out for that as well. Look out for everything that's going to come out on this channel in 2024 because I'm very excited. I'm very hyped, and I look forward to, going into the new year and sharing everything with you guys. So I'm just wondering now, what are you looking forward to in the new year? Are you looking forward to all of it? Do you have some skepticisms about certain things that you're like, oh, I'm not entirely sure if that'll work out? Let me know that type of stuff in the comments below. And also let me know, like, what do you consume in terms of Star Wars? Like, I think everyone consumes, like, the TV shows, but do you also read the books, read the comics, play the games, that kind of stuff? Just let me know all that type of stuff in the comments. Please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to my channel for more Star Wars content, of course. Follow me on social media, and until my next video, may the Force be with you.